Codependence is exhausting. I'm Cheryl Fidelman, the Conscious Codependence Coach, and today I'm going to talk about how exhausting codependence can be. I help successful women who have more peace and harmony at work than they do at home feel safe, loved, and at peace in their intimate relationships. And one of the reasons that a lot of my clients have more peace and harmony at work than they do at home is because of this, I think, this idea or this misconcept, if you will, that relationships take so much work. Well, if you're working more on your relationship at home than you are at your job that you're making money doing, then there's an imbalance and likely a massive amount of codependence happening. Because the number one most important relationship is your relationship with yourself, and all of the work that you're doing anywhere, whether it's at work or it's at home, the most work that we do in the conscious codependence process is the work on ourselves. Because everything from our experience at work and our professional life to our personal life, everything stems from our relationship with ourselves. So the most work to be done in our lives is within our relationship to ourselves. Okay, so I'll get more into that. And if you'd like your free PDF of the 3 tenets of conscious codependence, the want to be wanted, the need to be needed, and the need to prove oneself, the PDF breaks down the common behavioral roots, developmental patterns, some customizable questions in there. Please go to CherylFidelman.com. Please like or subscribe to this channel. Keep the comments coming. And okay, here we go. Codependence is exhausting because in our codependent moments, some of us just have some codependent moments here and there. And for others, codependence just is the water that we swim in. And that's what it used to be like for me. I just was always in my codependent identity. I'm not sure that I came up for air that much for probably the first 35 years of my life. So in our codependence, codependence is exhausting because the energy is constantly going out. We are constantly focused more on other people's reality than our own, one or more other people's reality than our own. Oftentimes this happens in our intimate life, in our personal life. You know, we're dating or we're married and we are focused on our partner or our spouse. And we're paying attention to their mood and their facial expressions and what we think they're subliminally telling us and reacting more to their reality than our own reality. So their reality is the first reality, and then we find ourselves once we figure out what's going on over there with them. And then we want to change them and alter them or show them the light or care for them so that they can become who we think they have the potential of being, right? So mothering comes in there as well. And linked below is an article that I recently wrote for the Codependence Recovery Council with Avaya University that I titled Codependence and Mothering. And this has a lot to do with how exhausting codependence can be. Because oftentimes we are mothering our intimate or romantic partner, and that's not actually our role. We are mothering them and raising them so that hopefully maybe someday we don't have to mother them anymore and we can be their girlfriend or their wife, right? And so we are exhausting ourselves for some future relationship or some future place that we think we can meet. But really what's happening is we're exhausting ourselves focusing on them because in the hopes that we can finally be the wife or partner or free goddess, spiritual, intuitive, open, free, loving being that we eventually want to be. But really, we have that couched in exhausting ourselves, taking care of them because we love them, right? Codependence is not love. Exhausting ourselves to care for another person, okay, unless they legitimately have a medical issue, not what I'm talking about, okay? What I'm talking about is raising our partners to be who we think they should be or can be, and while we're raising them and exhausting ourselves, contorting ourselves to their mood, we are not focused on our own reality. Energy is going out, it's going out, it's going out. We are exhausting ourselves and no energy is coming in. And then we have the experience of not being seen or not being taken care of. Well, we're not seeing ourselves, and we're not taking care of ourselves. The seeing ourselves, the taking care of ourselves, the noticing how we are sourcing our experience by defaulting to somebody else. We are exhausting our experience by having somebody else's reality run our world, and then we just play a role in their movie. Identity contortion is exhausting. Emotional contortion is exhausting. These are bits and pieces of codependent habits or behaviors. What I mean by emotional contortion is pretending that we don't feel the way we actually feel. We're hiding it from them because we don't want them to get mad at us or misconstrue us, right? But really we're hiding it from ourselves. In codependence, it looks like we are hiding our truth from the other person, but really we're hiding it from ourselves. And that's why I'm saying that if you're going to have any exhausting relationship, it should be the relationship with yourself. Exhaust yourself getting to know yourself, getting to know how you're interpreting, how you're projecting, how you're protecting, how you're contorting, how you're more in service to somebody else's reality than your own, how you may have made yourself and your reality and your wants inferior or less than to somebody else's reality and wants, how you may be mothering, thinking that that mothering is love when it's actually not the appropriate role for a romantic or intimate relationship. How did you contort mothering with partnership? How did you contort mothering with your goddess nature? How did you contort mothering with your freedom to feel and download and have intuition and spirit and excitement and freedom? How did you take your own freedom of expression away by focusing more on your partner's expression? Ultimately, codependence is exhausting because it's dissociating. Codependence is a dissociative act. We are disconnected from ourselves to focus more on somebody else's reality. We are disconnected from ourselves because we are not sourcing our own trust. We're not sourcing our own safety. We're not sourcing our own inner alignment. We are looking for somebody else and taking care of somebody else because our inner alignment and our safety depends on their mood, their feelings, their interpretations, how they feel about us. So we are our experience depends on theirs. Codependence is exhausting because we are constantly managing somebody else's reality in order to manage our own anxiety. Okay, so the other person is off or disconnected or misinterpreting us, our anxiety increases. So instead of sitting with ourselves and managing and healing and being with our own anxiety, we take care of them, we leave ourselves, because if they're calm, then we're calm. So we leave ourselves to manage somebody else, because their reality is what manages us, instead of staying in relationship with ourselves, staying aligned and connected with ourselves, allowing somebody else to have their experience, releasing them to their experience, releasing them to their own reality, to their own potential outcomes, having nothing to do with how they are going to steer or drive their reality, because we are focused on steering and driving our own reality. And remember, codependence is not a present moment behavior. It's a future tripping behavior. It's a past tripping behavior, right? We're anticipating what's going to happen. We think we know what's going to happen. We create all sorts of false narratives about what's going to happen. We think the past is going to repeat itself. We hold lists from the past as to how somebody behaved and what they did. So it's a past tripping act. It's a future tripping act. Codependence is cognitive. It's a bunch of thoughts, of overwhelming thoughts. And that's why this work brings us more into our body, more into our inner peace, and more into presence. When you're putting out so much energy and exhausting yourself for one or more other people, and it seems like in codependence, it often seems like, well, everybody takes, everybody needs. That is a direct reflection of how much you are taking from yourself, of how much you are not giving to yourself. The extent to which it may seem like people are pulling on your energy is the extent to which you are not connected to how much energy you're putting out. You're not connected to your own exhaustion. You're not connected to any limit that you may have to your tank. If people are taking, it's because you are available to give. And our codependence can be exhausting when we're over giving and we're over supporting, and what we're providing might not even be a match for what is even being asked of us. And also, possibly nothing's being asked of us, but we are feeling called to have a job or responsibility. Our nervous system gets into some sort of emergency state, and we think, I can't be, I have to have a job here. I have to give myself some sort of an assignment here. Inside of somebody else's reality, there is a job for me. And so often in our codependence, we're exhausting ourselves because we're giving ourselves jobs and responsibilities that are not ours to have, potentially not needed and not asked of us. Repression can also often be exhausting because we are holding in our reality. We are shutting ourselves off from what we're feeling. And so those feelings, emotions, those triggers, that trauma that is being triggered, that is trying to talk to us, is being shoved down. And as we shove down our reality, because we don't want to show it to other people, most importantly, we're not showing it to ourselves, then our system has to somehow digest that, and it is exhausting. And sometimes our repressed reality can come out in a burst of anger or frustration or rage because we are not feeling or noticing all the micro emotions that happen from moment to moment. We are only either feeling 0, which is complete disconnection and repression, or 100. We're experiencing 0 or 100. In the conscious codependence process, we become aware and viscerally aware and aligned and connected to all the micro emotions and feelings that there are to feel along the way in any scenario or situation. And that ultimately is our femininity. The ability to feel all there is to feel and expand our threshold to hold and experience all there is to feel in any given moment. Now, oftentimes we are working harder on our relationship at home or our situation at home than our situation at work. A lot of my clients are like successful at work and everything's going well. It doesn't mean there aren't challenges, but they feel a side of themselves that has more ease in communicating and partnering and teaming with people than at home, because our romantic life magnifies our unhealed childhood trauma. It just does. I don't know, whoever invented the human condition, for some reason, put this ingredient into our programming that bring in romance and everything that is unhealed gets brought up. So our intimate relationships, whether or not we consciously choose them to be, are a healing contract. And so I coach a lot of women to develop a healing contract, number one, first and foremost, with themselves. Be an amazing bonus if you have a healing contract with your partner, so that you both know that what comes up is meant to be healed, and that you have a sort of common process to do that. That what comes up isn't somebody else's fault. That what comes up is a mirror of what fire is burning within us, or what is sort of unhealed within us. First and foremost, your relationship with yourself is a healing contract. All of the work that you do, of all of the work that we do in our lives as humans, and we all work really, really hard at different things in our life, I am so passionate about our relationship with ourselves that I go so far as to say, work the hardest, the absolute hardest on your relationship with yourself. And everything else, I'm not saying don't work hard on other things, but the relationship that you can put any level of exhaustion towards is your relationship with yourself. And then as you get to know the depths and dimensions of yourself, everything else becomes less work, more passion. Less work, more passion. Oftentimes in our codependence, we know more about how somebody else ticks, their psychology, what they think and how they think and why they think it and how they put 2 and 2 together. And maybe they put 4 + 2 = 7, but you know how they came up with that illogical answer. I mean, in codependence, we know our partners or other people just at, levels and depths and dimensions that we don't know ourselves. Know yourself better than you know anyone and anything, and the exhaustion will decrease, and your energy level and passion and everything you do and in all of your relationships will massively increase. And if you haven't already, don't forget to get your free PDF of the 3 tenets of conscious codependence. They are a great reference point to be able to tell if you are in a codependent habit or behavior or moment. The want to be wanted, the need to be needed, the need to prove oneself. If you're operating from any one of the tenets, then you can be able to tell the level to which you are exhausting yourself, trying to prove yourself, trying to defend yourself. You are putting out so much energy because you want somebody to want you. You want somebody to need you. You want to make sure you're needed. Also, with the need to be needed in particular, which is rooted in our sense of safety, we often put needs on other people that, number one, is not their responsibility to provide. Number two, is possibly not even within their skill set to provide to you. And number three, it's not a real need. In codependence, we often think we need certain things from people that we actually really don't need. They might be a luxury or a preference or a desire, but not a real need. And this is why codependence is so dissociative, because it's connected to our survival, right? Like we think somebody needs to understand us and needs to see us so bad that we act like that the world is going to end if they don't get us or if they don't understand us, or we're lacking oxygen in the relationship if they don't get us or see us or understand us. Okay, thank you so much for listening to my thoughts, theories, and rants. If you are watching this close to the day that I recorded it and sent it out, then please take advantage of my Mother's Day sale, which is going to happen just for the next few days, and book your free conscious codependence consultation with me so you can really get a powerful sense of now is your time to go through this process and invigorate your life and your relationship with yourself with energy, passion, love, peace, and safety. Because remember, your relationship with yourself is where it all begins. Happy healing, and life is now.